Hello, my friends, and there's another good story I've got for you. It's about a Rolex. Wait till you hear this story. This is one of those stories that you don't believe it actually happened, but all my stories are true. I've got a lot of stories. These stories are not going to be in the book that I'll be writing. No, these are stories that won't make the book, but these are stories that are very, very interesting. You know, the thing I do tell you in the very beginning of everything is please tell your friends to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rick Sykes 305. I know you're already subscribing, but have your friends do it, please. Call them up and say, hey, I got some nut who's been wanting to get his subscriptions higher, and the reason he wants it because he's 10 years too late doing this. So please do it. And also, if you're wondering why I'm bundled up like this, Florida's cold right now. It really is. So just so you know, I mean, I just came back from a Harley ride, and it was just a beautiful ride. It really was absolutely gorgeous. I didn't go as long as I usually do because it's a little brisk out. It's very brisk out. So, but anyway, I want to get to this story that's really, really, really interesting. You'll like it. It's one of these stories that you sit there, you scratch your head, you say, "You got to be kidding! That actually happened." You know, I've been in many, many businesses. Some were very successful, some mediocre, some weren't successful, some got me in trouble. One of the businesses I was in is the jewelry business. I am a certified gemologist, precious gems and stuff, and I owned jewelry stores years ago in the Connecticut area. And what happened one day is a young guy came into one of my stores and said, "Hey, I've got this Rolex. It was my grandfather's. It's all busted up. Does it pay to fix?" And you know, this is in the late '80s, and Rolexes weren't that, prevalent. I mean, they were popular, but not like they are today. And this is an old Submariner. It was beat to hell. So I looked at it. I said, "Well, listen." I said, "I've got a guy who fixes Rolexes. I'll send it to him and see what he says." So the guy gave me the watch. I sent it to my dealer, which was in Indianapolis at the time. And the guy told me it would cost $320 to fix it. So between the postage and everything, I said to the guy, I said, "Listen, $400 to have it fixed, so I'm making, $40 on a big deal." Well, the guy said to me, he goes, "You know what?" He said, "What do I owe you?" He said, "It's not even worth it." He said, "It's all beaten up." He said, there's really not much sentimental value to it. What do I owe you for?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll get it back." I said, "I'll just throw it in a drawer and don't worry about it." The guy said, "Oh, that was very nice of you." I said, "No problem. Don't worry about it." Well, then I was years ago, probably about 8 years ago, 8 years after that, 10 years after that, I'm cleaning out the drawers and I'm closing that store. I'm closing all my stores down because I got involved in something else. That's when I got into the movie business, that's a whole nother story. Wait to hear that. Anyway, so I'm cleaning out all this stuff and I see this beat up Rolex that was in the drawer. I mean, smashed to shit. I mean, just ruined. So, you know what? I said, "I'll send it to another friend of mine." I sent it to this other guy. I said, "Do me a favor." I said, "I just need a knockaround watch." I said, "I've got a million watches because I do collect watches." I said, "But this will be a nice knockaround travel watch." So, okay, fine. So I think it was probably about $500 or $600, something like that. It was fixed and it looked pretty good. So I used that as my travel watch. And the idea was, hey, if I lost it traveling all over the world, didn't mean a thing to me. It was just an old beat up Submariner Rolex. Well, that's the way I looked at it for years and years. And I used it as my travel watch. And I used it on one of my boats or something like that. It was just a knockaround watch that if it broke, no big deal, just throw it away. Well, wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden, one year, a friend of mine, she called me up and said, "Come visit me in Antwerp." And I go to Antwerp, and then from there, I'm in Belgium, and I'm all over the place, and I'm having a great time there, and just having the time of my life there. And I'm partying with her and partying with a bunch of people, and it's just having a grand old time. Well, the next thing you know is I'm eating space cakes, and I'm having fun there, and I'm partying my butt off, and just having a good time. And remember, I have the Rolex on because that's my travel watch. Well, wouldn't you know it? I hadn't slept probably about 3 days, and I was just like a babbling fool by this time because we were just partying. I was just just having a lot of fun with everybody. So I'm at the airport on the way back to, actually, I was way back to Palm Beach at the time. And I'm at the airport, and I hadn't slept in days. Days. And I was a babbling fool. And while I'm at the airport, I was resting at a Rolex counter, and I was waiting for a Delta flight. And I'm resting at the Rolex counter, and this Asian woman comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir, can I see your Rolex watch?" I started laughing. I said, "Sure." So I gave her the Rolex watch, and she said, "Do you mind if I show it to the other people here in at the kiosk that they had in the airport?" I said, "No, go ahead." So she does. She comes back to me and says, "Does Rolex know you own this watch?" And I started laughing. I said, "Why would Rolex want to care about this piece of junk?" She goes, "Do yourself a favor. When you go back to the States, go to a Rolex dealer and show them what you have. You'll be shocked." Well, I'm saying to myself, okay, fine. And, it just didn't dawn on me. So anyway, I go back to the States, and I'm in Palm Beach. I go to Tourneau, and I walk into Tourneau, and I knew a couple of guys at the time there. And I go and tell them the story. I said, "Listen, I hadn't slept for days. I've been partying my butt off. So I probably hallucinated this whole story." I'm sure I hallucinated the whole story. The next thing you know is one of the guys looks at the watch and says, "Rick, it's a piece of junk. It's an old Submariner." I said, "Yeah, I figured that." I said, "So I did hallucinate the whole thing." He goes, "Yep." But then one of the other guys comes over to me and says, "Can I see the watch?" I said, "Yeah, sure, here." And he takes it. And if you know where the serial number on a Rolex, you have to take the band off. This guy said, "Do you mind if I take the band off?" I said, "No, I don't mind at all." He takes the band off, and then he looks in a book. He looks at me, and he said, "Holy shit!" That's a quote. And I said, "What? What? Do you know what you have here?" I said, "Yeah, an old piece of junk, old stainless steel Rolex." He goes, "No." He said, "You've got one of the James Bond original watches." Hello? I've got what? "You've got one of the James Bond original watches." He said, "This is a Sean Connery watch." And I looked at him and I said, "What does that mean?" And he said, "You got a watch that's worth a fortune." Well, I still laugh about it today. The problem is, I don't wear it anymore because I just threw it in a safety deposit box because I know me. I'll end up losing it. So I mean, I go in there every once in a while. I wind it up. I reminisce about the memories I had. I've got a bunch of other watches too that I collect, but I'm telling you, I had to tell you that story. It's a cute little story. That's one of these stories that people say, "Wow, that really happened." I said, "Yeah, it really did." And I still have it to prove it. So I just thought you'd appreciate that story. It's a fun story. I've got a few more. Wait till you hear my Porsche stories. Oh, my God. You're going to freak out about that, too. But these are just stories that, have gone with me since I can remember. And I hope you enjoy that story. I've got so many more of them. And I really do. And I hope you follow them. And follow me, please, 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 on my YouTube channel. Tell your friends. I know you're following me, but tell your friends. I need people. Because otherwise, it won't be fun for me what I'm doing right now. I've got so many stories to tell you. And you know something? I've been around a while now. So, when you hear these young people saying that they're life coaches, they're not life coaches. They don't know a damn thing. I'm a life coach, but I'm not telling you I'm a life coach. I've experienced life. So if you have some questions about life, don't hesitate. Ask the question, and I will answer it. Okay? So please do all that stuff. Okay? Have a great, 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 great time. As always, I love being with you. I mean, you're turning out to be almost like family to me. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you real soon.